Unfortunately, it's on a body that stands 5'9½". Is that Poncho Carter or Poncho Carter? The rules here in New Jersey. Standing 8 count is in effect. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round. And the scoring on the 10-point must scoring system. We are ready to go, so let's go up to the ring and Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Donald J. Trump's Taj Mahal Casino Resort here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Tonight, Main Events Incorporated along with Fight Night Incorporated in association with the undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, Budweiser, proud to be your bud, presents professional boxing for your entertainment. All the bouts tonight are sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. For this first bout, the 3 judges assigned scoring the contest on a 10-point must system will be Paul Venti, Richard Strange, and John Riley. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Arthur Mercanti. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the heavyweight division. This bout scheduled for 10 rounds. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the blue trunks with white letters, weighing in at 234 pounds, he comes to us from Augusta, Georgia. An outstanding professional record, 22 victories with 18 KOs against 5 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, Poncho Carter. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with red trim, he weighs 220.5 pounds. From Miami, Florida, he also brings an outstanding record, 27 victories, 25 by KO, only 1 defeat. Introducing Phil Jackson.
Good luck. Good evening, gentlemen. You both know the rules of the Jersey State Athletic Commission. Shake hands now. Good luck. Come out at the bell.
The instructions from the veteran referee Arthur Mercanti. You're looking at the 29-year-old Phil Jackson, who's put some numbers up there. His last 24 wins have come by knockout. He had a string of 22 straight KOs before the loss to Ruddock, and he has come back with 2 knockouts since the defeat to Razor Ruddock. And now he steps in against a charging Poncho Carter in the first round.
Which could be the best thing that Poncho Carter could do. Get on the inside. Don't taste that power. 90% of the power of a punch is that final snap. You cannot stand in that danger zone. Either get all the way in or all the way out. Poncho Carter said he is a puncher boxer trying to move more because of his height at this heavyweight division. Best punch, he says, is his left hook.
He comes off a 7th round knockout over former heavyweight champ Pinklon Thomas. That fight was in January. We had seen Thomas, what, about a year or so ago against Tommy Morrison, when it looked as if Pinklon should never be in the ring again. And Carter shows that he could take a wallop. Carter, believe it or not, was an outstanding amateur at 165 pounds. One time rated #1 in the country. He gained a reputation as a super middleweight. Won his first 15 fights, 13 by knockout, before he was knocked off the course of a possible world title fight by another super middleweight, Everett Bigfoot Martin. Both of them now in not only the heavyweight division, but the super heavyweight division. But Carter eventually, after being out a year, came back as a heavy. He had fought at 175 against Marvin Mack. Stopped in the 11th round in that fight. Came back a year later, 23 pounds heavier at 198. Won a 2nd round knockout. And then was out of the game for 3 years. Came back another 23 pounds heavier at 221. And now he's taking some vicious shots from Phil Jackson, who could really unload, and he has a willing target right in front of him in Poncho Carter.
And it's just where you cannot stand against a puncher like Phil Jackson. You know, you were talking about his amateur days. As an amateur, Poncho Carter fought out of Augusta, Georgia, same place as Evander Holyfield, and kaboom.
First round, Carter trying to hustle to hear the end of the count by Arthur McCanty. 30 seconds left. And Carter wobbling in front of Phil Jackson, trying to put it away here in the first round.
Must get way in or way out. He said he's trying to move more because at this heavyweight division, he cannot stand on the end of those punches. That was evidence. Right here again, get all the way in or all the way out.
10 seconds to go in the first round. We will pause for a word from your local cable systems.
Well, here it is. The right hand is dangerous, but it is only used to set up the left hook here. Kaboom. Power in both hands. Phil Jackson.
But Poncho Carter makes it out of the first round. Swing and a miss. Phil Jackson right on top of him. Jackson was ranked as high as number 7 in the world before he fell to Razor Ruddock. He has dropped out of the top 10. He now lands in the 16th spot in the WBC. But the heavyweight division is calling for the likes of a Phil Jackson if he indeed does remain focused. Here's a guy who's been boxing only 8 years. He didn't start until he was 21 years old when he walked into Pat Burns' Miami Police Department gym. And he quickly showed the aptitude. He was 50-8 as an amateur, won the Florida Golden Gloves, the national PAL title, was the Olympic alternate in '88. He lost to Alfred Cole at 178 pounds. And as a pro, has won 27 of his 28 fights. Opposition has not, of course, been the greatest.
Yeah, and that's been the big negative for Phil Jackson. Sure, he's a hard puncher. Sure, he has 93% knockouts, but who is he knocking out? When he steps up in competition like he did with Razor Ruddock, he stunned Razor Ruddock, but he wasn't able to stay in the fight.
It's been almost an Alex Garcia type of rise, although I think Garcia has actually faced better opponents than Jackson.
But he's a hard hitter. He just needs to hit his opponent in the right place. Now this is an important match for him because if Poncho Carter hangs around late in this fight or even 10 rounds, it's a terrible statement for Phil Jackson's punching power.
Carter is a former, actually you would say, well, he was a super middle, then a light heavyweight, cruiserweight. But like James Pritchard, who we'll see later against Michael Moore, once he steps up against some of the big hitters, he really has his problems. And that's perhaps one of the reasons Carter has put on the extra weight. But he has been taken out by Tony Tubbs in 7, Bone Crusher Smith in 1. Not that Tubbs is the biggest of hitters, but certainly an established heavyweight. Oliver McCall knocked out Poncho Carter in 3 back in December. But Carter with false illusions, coming off a knockout over Pinklon Thomas, who is just a shell of his former self. Even I don't know if he's even a shell right now. Being knocked into a shell is Poncho Carter.
Rocked again. He said he wore Pinklon Thomas down and then KO'd him with a left hook and a right hand.
In the 7th round. Well, Carter does get through another round. Poncho Carter survives the 2nd round. He went down as the bell sounded, or as Arthur McCanty figured just before. So the count went on, and Poncho Carter was able to beat the count.
Poncho.
So we will move on to the 3rd round.
Dr. Frank Doggett in his corner, checking to see if he's okay. Here it is, right at the bell, the final 10 seconds, winding up and throwing this left hook, kaboom. And did he hear bells? Poncho Carter went down, and he is stunned again.
You cannot be saved by the bell in any round in New Jersey. But Carter, knowing the bell sounded, even though he's hearing several others at the time,
birdies.
Maybe thought it was the bell to start the next round. That's why he got up. Well, he's been so far 2 rounds down twice. We move into the 3rd, and Poncho may feel he's got Phil Jackson right where he wants him.
He's punched himself out. Well, he told me today that his fight plan was to hit and not be hit. He's not exactly done that. He said he does not want to test Phil Jackson's power.
I think it's worked out as he's being hit and not hitting back. I think he just got that a little confused. Poncho also says that when he goes into a fight, he says he takes what the opponent gives me. Does that also mean, does that mean I have no fight plan?
He took his punches.
1 minute into the third round, Al Albert along with the champ Sean O'Grady ringside at the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. And these are two heavyweights. One banging it out, Phil Jackson in the black trunks from Miami, Florida. At the age of 29, trying to make his mark in the heavyweight division. Hoping to soon move into the top 10 where he once was. Jackson says sometimes he has trouble trying to find his range.
He's not having any trouble finding Carter because Carter is falling all over him. Arthur Mercanti says that's enough. Mercanti, 107 world title fights, says.
And this was not one of them.
No, it was not. But that is enough for Poncho Carter.
So Carter extends it into the third round. The wicked punching of Phil Jackson, but sometimes he says he's over under shoots. Carter not figuring out whether to stay far enough away or too close. And Carter is wiped out in the third. No contest. Phil Jackson scores his 28th victory, his 26th knockout.
And he was right about his prediction, Al. There was a knockout tonight, and it was him at the end of Phil Jackson's punches. Phil Jackson working, and look at how Poncho Carter, stiff-legged, is falling right into the punches of Jackson. He is out on his feet, stepping in post holes. Legs are locked, running forward, catching everything that Jackson's throwing. Kaboom. Runs into the punches. All Phil Jackson. Down goes Poncho Carter. This fight's over.
And what time did it end? Let's find out. Here's Michael Bufford.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Arthur Mercanti steps in and stops the action at 1 minute and 42 seconds of round number 3. The winner by TKO, his record now 28-1 with 26 KOs, Phil Jackson.
Well, Phil Jackson had a heavy bag in there and punched out Poncho Carter in 3, had him down once in each round. And Jackson bouncing back from the defeat to Razor Ruddock has now made it 3 in a row, 3 straight knockouts. His last 25 wins have come via the knockout route. Phil Jackson, the winner. From the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, it's time for the main event. Budweiser, the king of beers, presents USA's Tuesday night fights. Number 1 heavyweight contender Michael Moore takes on the challenge of James Pritchard. Michael Moore won the WBO Cruiserweight Championship in just his 12th pro fight. He pounded out 9 successful defenses before making the move up to the heavyweight class. It was one knockout after another, from cruiser to heavy. Moore knocked out his first 26 opponents. Moore, raised by the Croc Gym and Emmanuel Stewart, has now switched to Lou Duva and George Benton in his corner. Moving in on a heavyweight title fight, Moore looked to round out his game. But in 2 fights under new management, Moore has not been impressive. A big puncher looking to add more mobility, he appeared confused in a decision over Bone Crusher Smith. It was more of the same against Frankie Swindell. A fight stopped after a 3rd round headbutt. Moore got the win and also got the message.
I'm going back to the style I know how to do, and that's fight. It's good to know the boxing aspect of it, because when I have to box, and I'll use it, what I've learned in the gym that George and Lou taught me. But on the other hand, I can relate back to the things that Emmanuel taught me, and that's fighting and, you know, just dogging people like I've been doing.
When did you reach that decision?
Last fight. I was sitting on the rope so much, and that's not a part of my style anymore, you know. And I saw the tapes of it, and, you know, it was bad. If I go back to the way I've been fighting, and that's just going there and disrespecting them and just knocking them right on out.
Quite frankly, before the Bone Crusher, even the Swindell, in just a few rounds, we had said, there are just 4 guys out there: Bo, Lewis, Holyfield, and Moore. And And after the Swindell fight, we started to say, well, we're not sure whether, we would
Well, that's
include
being
more
honest.
there.
That's being honest because you've seen me before. You've seen what I'm capable of doing, and that's going in and destroying people.
So do you kind of look forward to this fight? This is going to be the first fight where you're going to be kind of...
That's not relevant. It's just that I'm going to go in there and have a whole different attitude about it. It's just, I'm not going to go in there and worry about slipping punches and countering and using my jab. I'm going in there and do what I want to do.
The new tune, Michael Moore.